The message of this gospel today is so powerful that I realized I had to invite a guest speaker to handle matters. So I'm going to invite him to come down here and speak to you about this powerful message. 1 minute. It took great expense to get this guy. It took a long way of time to get him out of his job. He didn't want to leave. He'll talk to you about that later. But let me get him. Hold on. I borrowed this from Father Glenn. You know, I remember the day when I noticed the skin disease on my hand, and my wife noticed it on my face. And on that day, I became filled with sheer terror, because I knew that with this skin disease growing on me, that I was going to be sent out of the village, cut off from my family, banished from the synagogue. And this was going to be a terrible, terrible experience. In addition, they were going to send me to live with these Jewish lepers. Me, Sammy the Samaritan, having to live with them. I mean, you have to understand that there's a lot of bad blood and bad history between Samaritans and Jews. We just don't like each other. There's a long history. So being sent as a Samaritan to live with these Jewish lepers, I was now an outcast among outcasts. And as the days went on, my skin itched, I was hungry. But what was really killing me, what was eating me up inside, was the fact that I was cut off from my family and my village. I had no contact with them. Now, among the leper community, people started to hear about Jesus of Nazareth. They started to hear that he may be coming to our village. And some even talked about how he had actually allowed a leper up in Galilee to approach him. And then we heard that Jesus even touched this leper and healed him. And when this story went around, all of us in that leper colony started to feel hope for the first time. And I'll never forget when he arrived. Saw him walking, coming towards our village gates. And we all felt suddenly a deep courage. We thought, yeah, we can take the risk of calling out to him and not getting stoned. And so we yelled out, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. And he stopped. And he looked at us. I will never forget what those eyes looked like. There was such kindness. They seemed to expand with compassion. And you know, no one had looked at us in months. Because we were shunned, we were cut off. People turned away from us. And when Jesus came, he looked right at us. And I felt that he looked right at me. And the compassion in his eyes, it seemed to just draw out from me the deep loneliness I was feeling, and instead fill me with such a sense of hope. Because I had conviction that he understood and he was with me. So I'll never forget those eyes. Now, you may someday in your life have an experience of feeling to be a stranger. You may feel that you are an outcast or mistreated or misunderstood or lonely. If that happens to you, listen to old Sammy. Go to Jesus. Call upon him. Ask for his mercy and compassion, because he will come to you. He will understand you even if no one else does. He will be with you, and he will fill you with God's love. Now, the strange thing is, when Jesus came, he didn't say a prayer over us. He didn't anoint us with oil. He simply said, go see the priests. Go get a clean bill of health. And as we're walking to go find one of the local priests, sure enough, my hands and my face, all the skin diseases were repaired. I had such beautiful skin, I was thinking of doing Samaritan soap commercials. Because, you know, he made me new again. But he didn't just heal me. I want you to understand this. He didn't just heal me. He made me whole. Because I could now go back to my village. I could go back and embrace my wife and hold my kids and go back to my shop and go to synagogue. He had made me new and whole. The Holy had made me whole. And not just me, but my whole family was changed. The whole village was changed by what he did. We were all made whole. And who here doesn't want to be made whole? Can I get an amen? Amen. We say amen in Palestine. Amen. All right. Yeah, who doesn't want to be made whole? There are all kinds of parts of us that are not quite together. Maybe because of past wounds, things that have happened to us. There may be parts of you that need to be healed and made whole. Maybe the relationship you need to be made whole. I'm telling you, listen to Sammy, because I know. Ask the Lord to make you whole. Ask Jesus to come into your life, that part of your life where you need his wholeness. And he will bring God's healing power. He will fill you with a life you've never known before. Now, I know I didn't do what Jesus said. I broke the commandment. I know he told me to go right to the priest, and I didn't do that. Here's why. I mean, I should have, but here's why. I realized it was Jesus who healed me. I know God's supposed to work in the temple, and I was supposed to go to see the priests who work in the temple, but I became convinced that the God who normally works in the temple this day came to our village and our town in my life. And I had to go back to Jesus and thank him. And you should have seen me running through those village gates like a nut, screaming, I'm healed, I'm cleansed, praise God. And people are coming out of the shops, and they're coming out of their homes, and they're all saying, hey, look, Sam's back. Look at him. He could do a commercial for Samaritan soap. His skin looks so good. And I run back. I go right to Jesus. I fall down at his feet, and I thank him, and I praise him. You want to know the fast track to being made whole? Practice praising and thanking God. Praise God and thank God for all the good you've been given. Maybe you had a shower this morning. Well, some of you did. Did some of you get a shower this morning? Maybe you got a meal this morning. Right? Notice how beautiful it was, cool out. We have so much to thank God for. Praise and thank God for all the good you've been given, great and small. Thank Jesus because he's given us God's life and God's meaning, God's work. I'm telling you, if you want the fast track to wholeness, practice praising God. Because when you start to do that, you start to notice how much God is active in everything. And you have even more reason to give praise and thanks. Now, I got to get back to work. Some of you may wonder, what did old Sammy do after he was healed? I changed jobs. I sold my butcher shop. And you know what I did? I opened up a home for lepers. I opened up a place where they could stay and get a shower and a meal and get medicine. I had to do that because I just was compelled. The mercy that Jesus showed me, I knew I had to share with other people. And my prayer today is that you go and do the same.